Hi, I'm Linda, and this is No Frills ASMR. I just got a package in the mail, and I wanted to take a look at it with you guys. The first thing isn't really what we're looking at today. Sorry, it's kind of loud. But it's this, which I had one already, but I couldn't find it anywhere. So I ordered a new one. And it is this, I think it's like a neoprene. Is that how you say that? Jogging belt. You put it around your waist. It's like a fanny pack, but it sits really tight to your waist. So you can use it when you go out running to put your phone in. But what I use it for is travel. Like I had one when I went around Croatia, and it fits a passport. So I keep my passport in there, and I have like a very, very small wallet where I just keep my identification. And you can wear it like, I actually put this under my pants and shirt. So it's right next to my body. And then I keep a lip chapstick kind of thing in here. This, I don't know what that's for. But anyway, it's really useful. It has a layer, so I put and I can fit my passport and my iPhone all inside here, which is pretty cool. So that way, when I'm running around town, I'm free of anything. I have found as I've gotten older to carry a purse. This is weird. Even the lightest weight purse, even if I wear it, crossbody, my shoulder gets kind of sore. I don't know why. Just having my phone. So having this around my waist, I like a lot better. You know what else I do? It stretches, so I put a water bottle like inside it against my hip. So this carries everything. Okay, enough about that. What I really wanted to show you. I was like, where'd it go? Is this. Now, I ordered these cards and I paid for them. And they weren't, they're not super, I think they were $24, which is kind of expensive for me. But I had contacted this company about, 4 months ago or something, and kind of asked if they'd send me some to look at and never heard back. And I don't know why so many people get free stuff to show. Nobody sends me stuff. But anyway, I was on Amazon and this was in my search history. And I'm like, you know what? I do want to look at these cards. So I went ahead and bought them. And it's called 52 Essential Critical Thinking. It should say cards because that feels like an incomplete sentence. And I don't know anything about how good these are or anything, but I was just curious. I'm like, I really want to see these. Cognitive bias discovery game, it says. I don't know about a game. We'll see. All right. So it's nice because it comes in this little tin. I don't love that Amazon has stuck the sticker on here so we can't read the back, but there we go. Actually, the vendor put that on there because you have to do that when you send them in, but they could have put a plastic piece around it. Anyway, whatever. All right, it says 5 levels of play: knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, and evaluation. And then they say watch a how to play video. I did actually go to that video, and there is I forget what she is, Dr. Wu maybe is her name. She's maybe like a behavioral health or something. And she, I guess, came up with these, and she like shows it like a game. I question how many people play this as a game, but Each card includes focus area, definition, example, and a quote. Okay. And then they have, they're different types of cards. In fact, when I asked for a sample, I was like, what I'd really like is your set that has the different ones, because they have one that's like self-awareness, coping skills, conversation skills. Is that what this is showing us? Self-awareness, coping? No, I don't know. Anyway, all right, so let's see what we have. We'll just read a couple and see what they're like. Now, on her thing, she said maybe start with red. I don't know why. These are all not red. Hold on. Where's a red one? Oh, are they in order like this way? Hold on. Now I feel like we have to take this. Okay. Starting over. What does this say? Just. It says level 3 application, level 5 evaluate. Where's level 1? Level 2 comprehension. I don't feel like reading all that. I skip the how to. Okay. Let's just like pull a few like this. Okay. Ba, ba, ba. It says, I don't know what the queen, I don't really know what that means, but okay. Compassion fade. Never heard of it. We feel more compassionate toward a smaller number of identifiable victims than a large number of anonymous victims. Well, okay, yeah. For sure, I could see that. So, like, when you hear about something horrible happening to a big group of people, you're like, boy, that's too bad. There were a lot of women and children and young people and just people in general in that crowd. That's too bad. Excuse me. But if you hear about 3 people and you know their stories and you know about everything and hear that something happened to them, that's more, it's going to get a bigger empathy result. Within hours, $500,000 was raised for Joe, the brave firefighter who suffered 3rd-degree burns. Right? Real generosity is doing something nice for someone who will never find out. Are you guys at all confused by these? Where's that card? Where did it tell us? Oh, well, whatever. All right, so that's compassion fade. Okay, yeah, we can understand that. So you have one firefighter, you know his story, so all this money is raised. But maybe if you had a group of people, people wouldn't think to give money the same way. Okay. Status quo bias. We like things to stay relatively the same. We perceive any change as a loss. What's an example of status quo bias? So I guess so this is probably Charlene refuses to change her phone plan to a new provider that offers the same features for a lower price because she'd like to stay at the status quo. It's interesting they bring up the phone plan because this is almost exactly what happened to me recently, where one of my sons, and he did not mean it, he was kind of half joking, because we have a very inexpensive phone plan. And we do bill them because they're adults now, but they're still on our family plan from way back. And it's only $25 a person for 5 of us. I think that's how it is. And it's Cricket, by the way. It's a deal. And I have no problem with coverage with Cricket either. And this is not sponsored by Cricket. So he was like, oh, I want, what do you call it? Unlimited data or something. And the truth is, my husband and I, we never go through our data, like, so we don't care. But I was like, you're lucky you get this that cheap. And then I looked it up, and they do offer unlimited data for that price. We were just on such an old plan, it hadn't been updated. And for some reason, my husband's like, no, don't change it. Don't change it because it might mess it up. And I called, and they were like, oh yeah, we'll switch it. And so now we have unlimited data. But it was just like this. He was like, no, you might mess it up. But it didn't mess it up. So you can get 5 lines, and you bring your own phone. We buy our phones on eBay for $25 a line. And it's unlimited data. And now it's all international, I think. Okay. The world is not static, and the status quo is not sacred. I want to find, where's the card so is that last quote like our inspirational thing or something? What does it say? I know I read that somewhere, you guys. I'm losing it. I'm losing my mind. All right, well. Curse of knowledge. We assume others know what we know. Yeah, I think that's true. We have a harder time relating to the less informed perspective. Yeah, you can't assume others know what you know. Sally wonders why her grandma doesn't understand her text. WTH SMHITK. What the H? Shake my head. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. When we are given knowledge, it is impossible to imagine what it's like to lack that knowledge. Yeah, I think they're definitely. That's just like, it makes me think, there's a podcast that I occasionally listen to called The Big Picture, and it's a movie podcast. And they're very knowledgeable about movies, and I think about the conversations they have with each other. So if you just pop in and you don't listen to the podcast all the time, I feel like I almost can't listen anymore, because they will all the time start talking about something that I think they have talked about in a previous podcast, but they don't like say, we're talking about X. They just start talking about it, and I'll just sit there going, what are they? I don't even know what they're talking about. And I'll go back, and it's like they just have picked up a conversation that they were having before, assuming I have the knowledge, and I don't. And so I can't even listen hardly anymore. Yeah. So that's kind of that, I guess. Okay. Optimism bias. We overestimate the probability of positive outcomes. Yeah, I think there's both a negativity bias for some people and an optimism bias for others. We overestimate the probability of positive outcomes. I think that's me. I think I do that. I think I used to do that. I think as life has beat me down, I don't do that as much anymore. But yeah, okay, what did they say? Ken has a feeling that he is less likely to get lung cancer than his fellow smokers. Oh, gosh, yeah. We were just talking about this, like literally right before I filmed this. Wishful thinking is one thing, and reality is another. I'll tell you when this can be tough. If you have ever had a loved one who has a chronic or even terminal disease or outcome that you know the realities of, and you have shared the realities of, but then people, good meaning people, kind of tell you, oh, everything will work out, or oh, it'll be fine. I don't know, like that kind of thing, when no, that's not how this ends. That's where that can be like toxic, I would say, sort of optimism. I don't know how to, I can't quite think how to explain it, but okay. Let's see, what's this? Oh, look, yeah, all right. So we have optimism bias and pessimism bias. We overestimate the likelihood of negative outcomes. Molly thinks the world is against her because nothing seems to be going her way, making her even more depressed. That sucks. Yeah. 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 You got to be careful about, I guess, either one of these, but I feel like this is more dangerous. That feeling of everything's against you, everything's working against you. You need the negative focus to survive, but a positive one to thrive. What are these quotes exactly? What was this one say? Wishful thinking is one thing and reality is another. Like, yeah, pessimism bias. I have an example, but I don't want to. It's from the comments. I don't want to call somebody out in the comments, but basically people who think the worst for no reason, and it's like, wait, what? I don't know. I'll be careful with what I say. Okay. Moral credential effect. We've been so honest and good that we subconsciously grant ourselves the license to make a poorer choice. Okay. Moral credential effect. So could that be like if you eat super healthy all week? So then, I mean, not that there's anything wrong with this, but like I'm just talking like, okay, like, and then you pig out on the weekend. Is that sort of that? But they're saying more moral. Okay. I know it. So if you go to church every Sunday and you pray every night, then when you do the naughty thing, you're like, yeah, but most of the time I'm really good. Rye has always been a loyal volunteer, so he decided it's okay to treat himself to a new bag with the organization's money. Ooh, that's bad. I've been honest and hardworking all my life, and now life owes me. I know somebody who says this. I actually know. I can think of a person who definitely is like, well, I'm good all the time, so I deserve this. And it's shady. Moral credential effect. I've never heard that before. Yeah. If you guys have any examples, because I'm not good at giving examples of these, because some of these I have to think about a little harder. But, and you want to share them in the comments. Although I might be out of town when this video drops, so if I don't respond, just know I'm on a beach drinking a beer. And that's why I'm not responding. Okay. Declinism. Rosy retrospection. Okay. We romanticize the past and view the future negatively. Oh, yeah, that's a thing. I think there's a lot of that going on right now. We romanticize the past and view the future negatively. For sure, that's the thing. I mean, rosy retrospection, declinism, interesting. You know how you see, like, old people, and by old I mean my age, and older, who are like, back in the day it was so much better. Kids, yeah, I think the biggest one that I used to have a pet peeve about is people like talking about how kids were so much better and kids today just sit and play video games and whatever. And maybe that's true of some kids, but like my kids were always out doing stuff and were nice to people and conversation. And so I think that's just some kids, but to pretend that some kids weren't lazy, back in the day is not, that's disingenuous too. And also, back in the day, there was a lot more racism and all kinds of things. So to pretend that the past was so much better is kind of like, that's not the future negatively. But then I think for a lot of people, yeah, it's tricky. All right, Grandma lives in a state of disappointment. She believes today's young people are lazier than previous generations. I can't tell you how much I see this. You know, I'm on Facebook and I see this kind of sentiment all the time. And I'm like, I can only speak for my own kids and their friends, but they are working their tails off. So I don't believe it, you know? And they volunteered and they were snowboarding and hiking and now they work full time. Like, no. I get. My boys used to go out and clean all the neighbors' snow off their cars. And, like, I think it's maybe grandma's grandkids. I don't know. I'm as prone to declinism as the next over-mortgaged middle-aged guy. You know who else does this, though, are like young people, because, you know, in that video I did on the mortgage, there were people in the comments, I'm sorry if you're one of them, because I understand where you're coming from, but who are like, I wish I could buy a house because nowadays there's no chance of that. And I admit housing's ridiculous right now. It's expensive. And the interest rates are high. But in the, I think it was the 70s, interest rates were like 18% or something like that. And when I bought a house, I paid over 8%, I think, 7%. So yeah, it's hard, but to pretend like the past was, you know, gas prices were high and mortgage rates were high, and during the 70s it was like screwy too. So the past wasn't perfect, is all I'm saying. Okay. Belief bias. We accept an argument because it supports a conclusion that aligns with our beliefs and values, even when the argument is illogical. Oh, for sure. For sure. We accept an argument because it supports a conclusion that aligns with our beliefs and values, even when the argument is illogical. Yeah, I'm sure everybody's doing that, right? Like, you have the conclusion you want to, so yeah, let's see what their example is. Skater Sam voted for Joe because Joe will install skate ramps in schools. Joe will have each student pay $1,000. What? Yeah. So he wants the skate ramps in school. So every student, whether they skate or not, will pay $1,000 for the skate ramps. I don't know. We want to see evidence that confirms our belief, and we want to forget anything dissonant. We want to see evidence that confirms our beliefs, and we want to forget anything that doesn't basically confirm our beliefs. Yeah. Oh, I think that's definitely something everybody does, you know. I think that's an easy one to fall into. It's almost like human nature, but something to look out for. Okay. Self-serving bias. I have a feeling this will be one we all do. We claim more responsibility for our successes than our failures. Sure. We claim more responsibility for our successes than our failures. You know, that kind of depends on the person, because there are people who, like, are very, don't give themselves enough credit over and over again. And that makes me sad, because I have friends, I think this might be more women than men, who, you know, just don't give themselves the credit they deserve for all that they do, because they're like, well, I'm just a stay-at-home mom, and, you know, my kids are wonderful, but they did that. It's like, no, you deserve credit for that. Your kids are wonderful because you were there for them. All right, but that's beside. Self-serving bias. We claim more responsibility for our successes than our failures. Okay, for sure. I know people who do this. Sam believes that she got into Yale because of her hard work, whereas her Harvard rejection was a result of her interviewer's lousy mood. Yeah. I can totally think of people I don't want to call. I'm trying to think of who I can without it. But the idea that, like, anytime something goes wrong, it's somebody else's fault. But if something goes right, it's because you're a genius. You're a genius. Self-serving biases are cotton jammed in the ears of our conscious. Even if truth shouts, we can't hear it. This is common, and I don't want to call men out, but I would imagine even more so with powerful men. Give themselves credit. All right, let's see. Hindsight bias. We perceive past events as having been more predictable than they actually were. Right. Yes. 100%. Oh my God. I can't tell you how many times recently in conversation this has come up. I didn't know there was a name for it, but it's the idea that, like, after something happens, you call and talk to somebody and they're like, well, they should have done this and they should have. Well, yeah, in hindsight, they should have. But at the time, you thought they were doing fine. But now, yeah. Oh my gosh. I can think of so many times. I don't want to bring up examples because I don't want to call anybody out. But yeah. I mean, I do it too. We all do it. After the underdog football team won, William exclaimed, I knew this was going to happen all along. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's funny, too. The worse the consequence, the greater the hindsight bias. Wow, I feel like this one is, yeah, we need to all think about this. We perceive past events as having been more predictable than they actually were. Yep. Okay. Let's see. IKEA effect. What is this going to be? IKEA effect. Something about having to put together furniture without real instructions. We place a higher value on things we partially created ourselves, regardless of the quality. How dare they call that IKEA? That's interesting. Yeah, for sure. We place higher value on things we've partially created ourselves, regardless of the quality. I mean, yeah. Interesting. I'm a do-it-yourselfer kind of person. And I mean, to me, it isn't a bad thing. I mean, I think there's something nice about when you've built something yourself or figured something out or put it together, you appreciate it more. I have an example. The other day, now I don't know whether I'll put this video before or after because I'll be on vacation and I will just, my stomach's growling. I will just, schedule these videos. But I make a cat fishing pole for my cat Cooper. And it's awesome, the fishing pole. Well, the first day, Cooper grabbed the mouse and he ripped the mouse off the fishing pole line. And I immediately was like, well, that's okay because now it's a string and he likes to play with the string. And that's kind of the IKEA effect. Now, if I'd bought that, I'd been like, this piece of garbage fell apart the first time he played with it. But because I made it, I'm like, oh no, it's still the best fishing pole ever made in the history of mankind. Isla loves her $50 stuffed animal because she picked out the fabric and colors herself. That's probably why, like, Build-A-Bear and American Doll are so popular, right? You pay way more, but you've made it yourself. Effort leads to love. All right. I've never heard that. I like that, actually. IKEA effect. All right. What's this one? End of history illusion. We believe we will change less in the future than we have in the past. Okay. We believe we will change less in the future than we have in the past. I mean, yeah, especially, I guess, like, I can only speak for myself. But, I'm in my 50s. And I think I will change. We believe we will change a lot. I don't know. I don't know, because I keep thinking about becoming I don't know, an activist, an environmental activist. I don't know. All right, let's see what they say. 20-year-old Kai believes he will not change much by the time he's 30 because he has matured so much already. Yeah, 20-year-olds always think they're like grown-up adults, and then by the time they're 30, they're like, oh my God, I was so mature when I was 20. So, okay, maybe this is more true of like newly minted adults. I don't know. The person you are right now is as transient, as fleeting, and as temporary as all the people you've been. Okay, interesting. End of history illusion. Maybe. I don't know. Let's see. What do we have? Oh, we went into dark cards. I think the red cards are like beginner level, she said. I watched a video and she said start with the red. Confirmation bias. I have heard of this one for sure. We focus on or interpret info that fits with our existing belief. If you've ever been on a health journey, this comes into play a lot. Well, I can give an example from a show that I just watched. There's a show on Netflix called Apple Cider Vinegar, and it's good. I thought it was pretty good. The only thing I didn't like about this show, it does a lot of time, like 10 years before, 10 years after, 10, that kind of thing. And it was kind of hard to place the time sometimes. And I always like it when shows do that kind of time jump. They put like a slightly different color grade on so your brain knows right away, okay, we're now in this other time period. That's my one review complaint. But it's about this woman in Australia who had she claimed she had brain cancer. She faked it, but she had built a whole app around curing herself of her brain cancer. And people followed that. But that kind of thing, you can get yourself really into a loop of confirmation bias. But they kind of have an example of that in this other character in that show. But when you want to believe something works so much that you kind of only search out the information that confirms that it works, instead of, it wouldn't take much to take a search and find out, oh, this doesn't always work. You might have to dig into page 2 of Google, but I mean, that's like one version. But this is something that happens to people over and over again. People who are political, like either way, liberal or conservative, they will often only go look at websites and articles that agree with their point of view. They don't even want to see what the other side has to say. And that's where you can get yourself into just a loop of confirming your belief instead of kind of going and saying, okay, what are they saying and what does that mean and what do they mean by that? Yeah. All right. We focus on or interpret info that fits with our existing beliefs. I feel like this is the most important one we've seen so far, because this is something that's actually like poisoning our country right now, in my opinion. Confirmation bias. Dan believes left-handed people are smarter than right-handed people because the smartest people he knows is left-handed. I'm sorry. Oh, I read that wrong. Okay. I was about to correct the grammar, but Dan believes left-handed people are smarter than right-handed people because the smartest person he knows is left-handed. Yeah, well, that's stupid. Oh, I could give so many examples of this. Once an idea gets into your head, it's probably going to stay there. Yeah, if you've never heard of confirmation bias, take some time to just look it up, understand it, and then think of how it is in your life, because I do think this is such an issue for everybody. I mean, it's normal. It makes sense. You don't want to see things that don't agree with your, preconceived notion or whatever. Okay, enough about that. What's this one? Oops. Ambiguity effect. We favor the known over the unknown. Okay, fair. My stomach is growling. I'm going to have to go eat. I haven't had breakfast yet. Andy decided to register for a course taught by a professor with mixed reviews over the same course taught by a new professor with no reviews. Well, okay, interesting. What if rather than being disheartened by the ambiguity, the uncertainty of life, we accepted and relaxed into it? We favor the known over the unknown. Ambiguity effect. Yeah, I'm sure that happens to people. I mean, the review thing, like certainly if I go on to like Airbnb, I'm booking a place with the most positive reviews. But they're saying mixed reviews over one with no reviews. I guess a professor's different. But the known over the unknown. I think a lot of people, I have an example. I don't know if this is a good example or not. I'm not sure. Maybe it's dumb. But growing up in Michigan, a lot of my friends had cabins in, like this part of Michigan. Like we lived over here. So kind of middle Michigan, there are all these lakes, Houghton Lake and what was it called? Hubbard Lake, I think. Anyway, and they had cabins. And their families would go to the cabin every summer, and that was their vacation, and that was it. And my family did not have a cabin, and we traveled all over the country. Not really outside of the country, but all over the United States. We road tripped everywhere every summer. And my friends, a lot of them never left the state of Michigan. And they were like, oh, that's, crazy, whatever. And I thought it was crazy for them to go to the same place. But it was like, I think for some people it's just safe and easy to go to the same place. But for me, I always want to I don't want to do the same thing twice ever. Even in life, I don't know. So I guess it depends on the person. All right, we have two more. Anchoring bias. We rely heavily on one piece of info, usually the first, when judging something or someone. Oh, we rely heavily on one piece of information, usually the first, when judging something or someone. Anchoring bias. I'm trying to think. Well, probably right now a good example would be, if you are you have strong political beliefs, and you find out immediately that a person has a bumper sticker for somebody you don't like, you might immediately go, I don't like this person because of X. I think that would be so even if you met them and talked to them and they seemed really nice and fun, you might in the back of your mind be like, yeah, but I don't like you because of X. I think that's a pretty good example. All right, let's see what they say here. Jenna can't stand Josh because Josh stole a cookie from her when they were little kids. He also had the nerve to sell it back to her for $20. What? What? I think my example's better. Why would she buy it? Jenna can't stand Josh because Josh stole a cookie from her when they were little kids. He also had the nerve to sell it back to her for $20. Sounds like Jenna's a dummy. Why did she buy it? I have an angry bias against Jenna now. Jenna, you idiot. What? That's a weird, that seems like a, I guess these are meant for younger people, maybe. Like, what is, all right, when I'm anchoring, I miss chasing stories in the field. I'm confused. Maybe I misunderstood this. We rely heavily on one piece of info when judging something or someone. Jenna can't stand Josh. What is this? He also had the nerve to sell it back to her for $20 have to do with anything. I don't know if anybody in the comments can help me with that one. I might not be totally understanding it. I feel like my explanation has more meaning to me. All right, negativity bias. We anticipate, give way to, and use negative information far more than positive information. Yeah, sure, yeah. Didn't we have this? Wait a minute. Oh, we had optimism, we had pessimism. These are kind of similar, right? We overestimate the likelihood of negative outcomes. And this is we anticipate, give way to, and use negative information far more than positive. All right, let's see what they say. Jack is still bothered by the one minor criticism of his speech, despite receiving several compliments. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. I know this one. This is 1,000,000,000% true. So in the comments, almost all of you guys are like so cool and kind and nice. And I get a lot of really nice, positive comments. Every now and then I get either an email, which is weird because they don't want to say it publicly, or a comment or something like that. That is cutting, mean, just says like what an idiot I am or whatever, or that I shouldn't be allowed to have a channel or whatever, things like that. And even though I'm at the minute I read it, I go, what a, jerk, whatever, I just ignore it. But that is what sits in your head. And you remember that comment over all the good comments. Isn't that weird? I heard there's a podcast called Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend with the comedian, late night host Conan O'Brien. And he talks about, he has to have his, Sona read all the comments because if he, he's very popular, he makes tons of money, he's doing great. But he says if he reads like one negative comment, it will like sit in his mind. Like it's the only one he pays attention to. I don't know why that is or what that is, but even on like another ASMR YouTube channel that I love, one time somebody made a snarky, mean remark to this woman, and she's like, puts up videos every day and is super nice and that comment, I like was ready to go off on that. I'm like, what the? Even though she gets like all positive, I don't know. Isn't that weird? It's so weird. Trolls, they're effective, I guess. All right, worry and negativity are a misuse of your imagination. Amen. Worry and negativity are a misuse of your imagination. Yep. Yep. Yeah. Boy, do I feel that. I think the ones that I personally are these two because I definitely am prone to confirmation bias and negativity bias. I definitely sometimes don't want to see stuff I don't want to see, and I want to see the stuff I want to see. And I definitely give too much weight to negative information, and I am trying really hard to get past that. So those, yeah. IKEA effect, the fact that if you put effort into something and build it, you'll love it more regardless of cost. Yeah, I think those ones. Which other ones? Let's see. Those are probably the ones I feel the most. Optimism bias. We overestimate possibility of positive outcome. I think I'm a realist. I know that I'm not, I don't think so. I'm more this than pessimism, but I'm also very aware of the realities of life. So I don't know about that. Compassion fade. We feel more compassion towards a smaller number of identifiable victims. I mean, that's just, yeah, human nature, I think, yeah. Status quo bias. We like things to stay relatively the same. No, I don't think I'm really. Curse of knowledge. We assume others know what we know. We have a harder time relating to the less informed perspective. We assume others know what we know. I don't think I do that at this point in my life because I've been around enough people that I know that's not true. I think once you have kids, you start to know. Kids, how would a kid know? Although that's a good example of that. There are people who are like, how do you not even know that? About I see it on comments online. Like, how would people know that? Especially young people who don't know, let's say who Gloria Stefan is. Well, how would they? How would they know? Of course they don't know that. Moral credential effect. We've been so honest and good that we subconsciously grant ourselves license to make poor choices. I don't think I do that. We romanticize the past. Nah. We accept arguments because it supports our conclusion with our beliefs, even when the argument is illogical. I think I'm pretty good. In fact, I think I'm pretty good about not doing that. I think so. Hindsight bias. We perceive past events as having been more predictable than they actually were. I do not do that. I get mad when I'm like, come on. You didn't feel that way before. Okay, self-serving bias. We claim more responsibility for our successes than our failures. I mean, we all want to do that, right? Anchoring bias. We rely heavily on one piece of info when judging something or someone. Yeah, I think I probably do that. We believe we change less in the future. I don't know about that. Ambiguity. We favor the known. No, I kind of favor the unknown, I think. I might be the opposite. All right. So I think these are the three I need to be most conscious of in my anchoring bias. We rely heavily on one piece of info when judging something or someone. I should work on that. Confirmation bias. We focus on or interpret info that fits with our existing belief. Yeah, I do that. Negativity bias. When we anticipate, give weight to, and use negative information far more than positive information. This I need to work on as far as people saying negative things to me and giving that way more weight than all the positive. I gotta work on that. I have to work on this in the comments, online, but I think also in personal relationships. Sometimes somebody will just say one. I'm oversensitive, and I have been my whole life. And people say one negative thing, and I'm like, like that. It's all I think about, and I get all bent out of shape. and I need to just go water off a duck's back. No big deal. They're usually not like, that's what, maybe. All right, IKEA effect. We place higher value on things we partially created ourselves, regardless of quality. I don't know if I see this as a bad thing, but I guess something to look out for, because I don't know. It's just a thing. I don't think it's a negative, right? Isla loves her $50 stuffed animal because she picked out the fabricing. I guess if you built something that's kind of trash, but you still think it's quality, even though it's not. I don't know. Whatever. All right, so there we go. Well, that was interesting. We have a bunch more to look at, so maybe that was $24 well spent. I don't know. 1, 2. I'll talk to you guys soon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. We made it through 16 cards. I guess I'll put these facing the other direction so we know which ones we've done. Let me know if, any of those spoke to you. I still don't know how